Siva Logistics, I was a career restaurant manager for years and years and years, and you know, the day that Janna passed, I actually had an interview with Buca di Beppo downtown, which is my dream job.
Oh,
but
really?
I'm sure you know how that turned out. So, you know, that's kind of why I'm a little bit apprehensive about this, because it just kind of puts me back out there. But I don't know. I just think it.
But again, I want to frame this conversation how we talked about, which is you're not giving up hope finding Janna, and you're asking the public's help to find her because you think that it will only be, I mean, you think she's only going to be found if a lot of people help. I mean, IMPD can't do it alone, obviously.
I know that.
So we need to remind people.
I am.
If that's how you want me to frame this conversation, that's how I've been wanting to frame this conversation. So.
That's what I want to do.
Okay, well then that's what we'll do. Are we good to go, Greg? Nice little breeze. Okay, so Jeff, even though I know it and I have it, but spell Fairbanks. Spell Jeff Fairbanks for me. I have it.
Jefffairbanks.
Okay. You're Janna's dad.
I am.
So let's just start from how you are today. You know, how often do you think about baby Janna?
Every minute. Every part of my being, and I miss her.
You think about her and you think about the joy that she brought to your life.
Absolutely.
And obviously to your and Yolanda's relationship. Tell me about how you think about her in relation to what transpired. How often do you think about that specific night?
Well, that's the constant replay in my head. You know, I kind of go back and forth from if it had never happened, where would we be, and how happy we were about to be, and why it happened. I just don't understand.
This was your and Yolanda's first child together, correct?
Yeah, it was.
Did you know it was a girl before she was born?
Yeah, we did. She kept saying that she thought it was a boy, and I think she kind of wanted a boy. She has two girls, and I have a girl and a boy. So we were incredibly happy. We didn't expect her to be 8 pounds, 10 ounces. She's a big baby. It was a very special gestation process, I guess. It was a very touching point in my life.
So that night, I guess I'll just go in chronological order. I mean, you were sleeping in the king bed. Janna was in the king bed with you guys, and Yolanda was asleep in the bed too. Paint that picture for me.
Yeah, you know, we slept with her. She always slept with us. You know, I know that Yolanda had slept with her kids. I slept with my kids until my daughter, I think, maybe 10 years old. But yeah, we went to sleep that night, and Yolanda got up in the morning, as she always does. She works very, very early. She usually leaves a little after 4. I don't know exactly. I didn't have a clock in front of me at that point. She changes her and feeds her, and then leaves a bottle, and she had done it that day. So I went back to sleep, and like clockwork, she woke up about 5:30. I changed her at that point, and fed her, and I ended up staying up, and you know, just I was on my tablet doing something. I'm not even sure what I was looking at. Probably football stuff. And I want to say it was sometime after 8. It's the last time I remember looking at the clock on the tablet. And you know, she had eaten and went to sleep, and I went to sleep, and didn't really wake up until much later, sometime around 1:30 or 1:45. I'm not sure.
Is this was like 1:45 like p.m.
Yeah, I mean, I only remember that time because I remember looking at the clock after I found her, thinking, oh my God, I'm just gonna be home any minute.
So you were home by yourself with baby Janna at the time that you discovered.
No, the two girls were there too.
Two girls, but you and Janna were in the bed together.
Correct.
Right. And I told you this last night, and I think the two things that people are just want answers, and they want to go, well, how did she die? Did you accidentally roll over her? That happens to parents.
Well, you know, we didn't talk about that during my questioning. That really wasn't the focus. You know, the two detectives that I talked with had talked about SIDS, and you know, you go through those courses when your baby's born, but I don't think anybody really listens to those courses. They're obligatory courses, and you know, all you think about is the baby. You just brought into the world, and so I really didn't know much about that. You know, I don't think that I did, based on the position. I mean, I was completely on the edge of that big bed, and she was a little bit left of center, laying at kind of an angle. I mean, I was nowhere near her. I don't know. When I do sleep, I sleep pretty soundly, so I'm not really a rough sleeper. I mean, I was probably from me to you to her. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
But you woke up and you knew at that point that she wasn't there.
Actually, it wasn't right away. I woke up, I went to the bathroom. I remember coming back into the room, because I looked at her when I woke up, but I wear glasses. I mean, these are prescription too, so, I mean, I have astigmatism. I can see, but I can't see detail. So when I looked at her, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. When I came back, I picked her up. And I just freaked. I hope nobody ever has to go through that.
So,
I mean, I
know
can't even.
This is the hardest part for you to talk about, but I want to get it done first. I mean, you held her, and at that moment, you knew she was no longer with us.
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious. Her lips were blue. She looked normal, but the skin, everything was normal, but she was limp. And I just can't explain how that felt.
So here's what I have a question about. So Yolanda's at work, you're at home, this happens, this should happen to nobody. You lose emotions, you freak out. How did it transpire that you got, you know, in the car and drove for so long? And tell me about that, you know, and did you call Yolanda at any point?
No. My greatest fear is that she, I mean, so many things are going through my mind at that point. And it was like being on a merry-go-round. It was like being dizzy. The only way I could put it into words. The only thing I could think about was I could hear the two girls playing downstairs. And my God, it's like I didn't want anybody to see her like that. It's the only thing I can search my feelings to describe. You know, I guess maybe I was just so worried about what Yolanda would, how she would react and what she would think. And, you know, I think about that moment all the time, and I don't know what I was hoping to accomplish. I knew that she was gone. And I didn't want the girls to see her. I didn't want anybody to see her like that.
I've told you there are 2 questions everybody wants you to answer, so let's try to answer them today. Why did you not call 911?
Well, I mean, I can only speculate. And I have to be honest, it never even crossed my mind. You know, I know that 911 is such an issue with schools and all that stuff. When I was growing up, it really wasn't. And that's not, I don't think that's why. I knew she was gone already. And all I could think about was my family seeing her like that, because I never wanted anybody to have that vision in their head. And even though it may not have been the right course of action, I'm glad that Yolanda never saw her. Because hearing the words and seeing her are 2 different things. You know, and you know, I think that it's noteworthy to say, you know, I was gone for 8 hours or so.
You left at like 3 p.m., 2 p.m. Like
well, I mean, I'm still kind of talking about the 911 thing.
Oh, got it.
You know, I was gone for 8 hours, and Yolanda had tried to call me at least one time. And, you know, we'll get to that in a minute. You know, when I get home, and I tell her, why didn't she call 911? Why did we end up going to sleep that night? And why did it take her another 8 hours to call 911? I think because I think that kind of lends itself to the answer. It's you're thinking about your daughter who's deceased. You're not thinking about that. You're not thinking about trying to help a situation you know is already over.
So let me make sure I got that clear. So after you realize baby Janna's gone, you leave. You drive for a long period of time, 8 hours. You come back. You tell Yolanda what happened. You tell her.
Yeah.
Do you tell her that you put her in that dumpster?
No, and I really. After it happened, I didn't even want to come home, and I drove around some more, and then I just kind of broke down even further, and I had to tell her.
So what did you tell her?
I told her that she was gone, and I told her the truth for the most part. I told her that